Well, good morning, everybody. This is John Marling, president of Pulse Research. On behalf of the Pulse team and Metro Creative Graphics, we are pleased to present a special webinar this morning. I recognize and appreciate how busy each of you are, but today's webinar, I am very confident you're going to get a great deal of very usable, actionable ideas and solutions to not only engage more effectively, but also, to get more sales. Today, we have a very special guest, Chris Scott from Staten Island Advance, and he's going to share with you how he's achieving 130% of his sales budget. And what he's doing is simple, but very, very effective. He's leading the presentation engagement with the customer opportunity from Pulse. In other words, what's in it for them, the potential number of customers projected from your Pulse presentation. And then he shares with them how to reach those potential customers and get a larger share with a spec ad from Metro. Why it works so effectively is in today's world, the businesses want information about and for their business. They want solutions, they want ideas. What they do not want is to be sold. And so without further ado, I'm very excited to introduce Chris Scott from Staten Island Advance. He did a demo for me a couple weeks ago, and it is just awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for being with us today and sharing your ideas and solutions. Take it away, Chris.
Very happy to be here, guys. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen real quick. And if someone can confirm that they can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right, awesome. So ultimately, what I want to help everyone here that's on this call is to get more comfortable and get better at using the tools and the gadgets that are at your disposal with Pulse and with Metro. And by using these tools combined together, I've been able to close new business. But more importantly, I've been able to further the conversation. I'm taking the customer or the client on the journey of the sales process, utilizing both of these tools primarily. I can close business with this information. I could also open business with this information. So first, what I want to show you is how I use Pulse specifically. And I got this little thing here in the way. So I got to find a way to make this work real quick. So, all right, I'll work my way around. So with Pulse, the way that I use this primarily is I'll have my clients that I'm going after, but for the sake of showing you guys all the different tools that are available, a very useful tool that I like to use is finding prospects, right? If you just go on to find prospects, you can go with most sold. This is where your opportunity is. We want to work smarter, not necessarily harder. Working hard is one thing, but you want to work smart too. So this is like the most popular places or the most businesses being sold. So for the example that I want to show you guys is I want to go with a restaurant real quick. And what this is going to show in this map is I could type in a little zip code here. It's got a bunch of different opportunities, a bunch of different businesses that I can go after. If I zoom in more, there'll be more examples. But let's say I want to go after Pecking Kitchen, right? I can click drop in here. This is quickly going to open up the Pulse Flyer. So this Pulse Flyer has a lot of information that I can use here. But I like to take it a step further. If you go here in Pulse and you go into your accounts, you can actually make your own presentation. And there's Pecking Kitchen right there. I also wanted to show you this specific example, Ti Amo Pizza, because I worked with this before. This is what I showed John. You can actually make a Pulse Flyer that also shows the buying power of your audience. So if you see this right here, this is an estimate. This is an estimation of the buying power of the audience that is in the market for this type of product. In this case, it's sandwiches. So this is a pizzeria. If they want to separate themselves from the competition, maybe they want to also highlight their sandwiches. I know that because I'm a marketing professional. I want to help them separate themselves from their competitors. So maybe we should focus on this opportunity. But you can do this with any type of business. It's very simple to do this. I'll show you the process real quick. It's not hard. So let's say we were doing Pecking Kitchen real quick. That's what we were looking at before. right? Create presentation, do one page. The flyers is the first thing that we saw, but if you go to one page here, click on that, right? Just validate the type of business that it is. So we'll put family style restaurant, validate what your audience is. And I'm going to show you this tool a little bit later on. But here's where you can put in all the different products. So what I'll do in this case is I will find this business's website. I'll look at the different products that they offer. And if I go to add more, I will add them in as I go. I'll just click. Maybe they do vegetarian options. Maybe there's Chinese. Maybe they want to focus on their steak products. Once I'm comfortable with all that, I can exit out of this. I have those items here. And now I can also click show spending. This is going to allow us to see the buying power of everything. So save presentation, that's going to bring me over here. So now I can see here that, okay, Chinese food, there's a lot of money that's at work there. So this information is valuable to me because it's a conversation continuation. Maybe someone has a rebuttal, right? Like, okay, this many households want that, great. How do I know what the value is there? Well, we're able to make the estimation of our audience based off of the buying power of our audience, based off the amount of households that are in the market. The whole point is this pulse research here is you're telling the customer or the prospects, hey, listen, 26.1% of our readership indicated to us, they said that over the next 12 months, they plan on going to family style restaurants. To make it even simpler, I like using the terminology, they're in the market for this. These are people that are in the market. You're talking to business people. You can talk like a business person. They're in the market for your services. Now, let me show you how I can help you. So it's a very powerful tool to be able to tell someone, this is the amount of people in the market for your services within our readership. Let me show you how I can get some sales for you, get some interest for you. So by using Metro with Pulse, there's a little icon here, because these are intertwined, click Spec Ad, and now we're able to make a Spec Ad or an example, a quick 1, 2, 3 solution, making an ad for someone. So I'm going to type in restaurant here because we're looking for a restaurant type of ad. So a lot of different things pop up here. So you could take your time to find the right one. And once I get comfortable, I'll pick something. The only thing that I've seen in the past is that sometimes the imagery here I use as a template. Maybe the ad isn't going to look exactly like this, but you get the person talking. You get them to open up to you about what they're looking for in a design. Just because you're sharing them an ad that's not perfect, that's not a bad thing, because you want them to continue talking. The more they're talking, the more likely it can lead to a sale. The more open they're gonna tell you, well, I want my logo here. I want my logo there. I want to highlight this. I want to highlight that. So if we can go back real quick to my example of Ti Amo Pizza, this was in real time of what happened. I want to show you guys something. So I don't want to save this. Let's go to Ti Amo. So remember before how I was saying with Ti Amo Pizza that we wanted to highlight the sandwiches. Okay, so it doesn't appear it's loading here. That's no problem. I remember what it was. So I'm going to return to Ad Wizard, find Advertiser, Ti Amo Pizza. Here it is. There's the logo. All right. So I'll do this in real time, actually. I will go to the next. Okay. All right. So I want to highlight the sandwiches. Because remember, there was the opportunity there to separate themselves from the competition. So I found this example here. And with this tool, remember, I'm using the Pulse information that's showing that, okay, you're a pizzeria. You also offer sandwiches. Separate yourself from the competition. Highlight the sandwiches that you have. Be a little bit different. So with this Metro tool, I could quickly show this example to the client. If I wanted to, I could just copy this image real quick. I could have my test email ready. I'm sending it over to the client. I'll say, hey, Mr. Business Owner, or Mrs. Business Owner, let me know your thoughts on the spec ad that I created for you. I think you should really highlight sandwiches on your menu because you want to separate yourself from the competition. Here's the pulse information again. I'll do an example like that to further the conversation. Maybe I'll generate a response from them. That's what I like. But I also think it's important to make these ads personal. Make them more than just a couple words on a piece of paper here with an imagery. How about putting their logo here somewhere? So if we go to the customize tool, put this to the side real quick, I actually have the logo already uploaded. You can actually upload any graphic you want. So I uploaded the logo, placed on the ad. Now this is becoming more personalized. I'm putting their logo here, and the ad looks a little bit better. Now it looks a little bit more like a real ad because we have the logo there. Except, why would I write Ti Amo Pizza here? So with the customize tool, you have a bunch of fields here where you could write anything you want. You don't have to follow the directions. You could, but you don't have to. Think about what your client wants, right? So they're obviously not going to want their name twice. So for here, I'll put in try our new sandwiches. Put that in there. And now this Ti Amo Pizza thing, that's gonna turn to try our new sandwiches. Maybe they don't want to include all the information like Bloomfield. Maybe they want to include something like, 10% discount if you mention this ad. That happens sometimes. So you get them opening up about new ideas as you give them new ideas. And this helps progress the sale. This has helped me progress my sales over time. Another example that I could show you here, just to help you guys think outside the box, are real estate agents. Real estate agents, sometimes they'll be part of a real estate company, but their brand isn't necessarily the logo. The brand is their face. It's who they are. They're putting themselves out there. So I had one particular advertiser that I was talking to. He had an Instagram page called The Tattooed Realtor. He was starting up a new business. He wanted to get his name out there. So I said, okay, let's call it The Tattooed Realtor. So we came up with a couple ideas here. And I found this spec ad, except the only difference is that it originally was a little bit different. I mean, I'll show you how different it was. First of all, this thing's not supposed to be there. It's number one. Let's get rid of that. Okay, now it's more like, this is what it looked like. It didn't have the image of the guy's face. He didn't have an official logo. But by thinking outside the box, I was able to place his logo, his face onto the ad. It becomes more personalized that way. So let me just show it to you guys again. So I found here, where is it? Tattooed Realtor. Oh, where'd he go? There he is. Okay. So by having this tool here, I can be more personalized with the creation of the ad. By using Pulse, I can quickly show him, here's your opportunity, here's the amount of households that's out there. And here, you know what? Let me just do this real quick. So you'll see in real time how exactly I'm doing this. So I have a list of files on files on files and files here. And this guy is John. And here's his picture. Put that bad boy in. Place on the ad. Put it here. Make it a little bit bigger. Boom. There it is. It's all done. Now, for the filling here, his name, instead of putting the name of his business, I put Tattooed Realtor. Instead of putting his address where his business was located, I put John Newell, his name. Again, I'm thinking about the advertiser. I'm putting myself in their shoes, giving the information that I would want if I was in their shoes. I want to know what the opportunity is. I get that with Pulse. I want to know what the creative is going to look like. I get that with Metro. Hand in hand, these tools work very, very well together, and I can use it to close new business. I'll give you a perfect example. So, two things. Closing with creative. I had a dentist that was interested in doing an ad in a special section, but he was hesitant because he didn't know what the ad was going to look like. And I said, don't worry about that. We'll come up with it. We'll work on it for you. The particular section was a graduation section. So You could try to find something in the My Ad Wizard if you wanted to. I don't want to say the Spec Ad. So you could try to find something here, but chances are you may not find the exact image that you're looking for. And sometimes it's just the picture. Sometimes the picture can make a world of a difference. So if we're thinking about a dentist in a graduation section, we probably want an image of graduates smiling, because dentists are all about smiles, right? So I went through some options here and I found this image. I actually gave him a few examples. I just copy and paste into an email. I asked him, here's the imagery that I'm thinking of for you. What do you think? And he was like, I really, really like this image. So I said, okay, great. I'll draw up a spec for you. We put this in a spec ad. He was immediately sold, signed the contract, did the advertising. And by just showing the right images and using the Metro tool, I was able to close another few graduation section ads. And again, that's using creative to sell, right? I introduced the option to the person. They weren't sold on it. Once I showed them the right creative, they were hooked. So there's an example of how creative can sell. Now, there's one other tool I wanted to show you guys real quick with Pulse. This was a real life example. So you're actually able to tell the customer what their advertising budget is when they don't know what it is. I had a guy who was like, oh, I don't have the money for that. I said, okay, well, here's how I help my clients understand what they can afford. Let's find out what is the value of an average new customer, the average sale. Give me a median, something you're comfortable with. So you have this tool here in Pulse called the break-even calculator. It's right here on the homepage, closing, involve the advertiser. Literally tells you closing. It's a great tool. Pop this open, and you can fill out this information as you go. You can even show this to them in live time, and their face lights up. They start to see where the opportunity is. They just need a reminder. Where's the opportunity? Show me the value. So they'll tell me, okay, average customer value, $1,000. Okay. Out of that $1,000, how much do you actually generate? How much do you actually get to keep? Well, my cost of goods sold is about, I would say, roughly 60%. Okay. So the cost of goods sold is about 60%. Let's figure out what you can afford. So let's say our basic package is $11,400. This is what we're talking about here. This is what I was introducing to you. This is what I'm trying to sell you. It's an $11,400 campaign over a year. That's 52 weeks. If the average customer value is 1,000 and the cost of goods sold is 60%, then net customer value will have to, wait a minute, I think I messed up over here. Net customer value, put there, put 1,000 in. Okay, now we're talking here. Now we got it right. So if the campaign's 11,400, it's over 52 weeks. Customer value is 1,000. 60,000 is the cost of goods sold. You make $400. So what that means is you need 29 total customers over the life of this campaign just to break even. That's only 2.4 new customers per month on average. Is that something that you can do? And they usually take a moment and think about it. They're like, oh, wow, okay, that does make sense. You know, maybe I could spend a little more. And now you just close them on spending either more, or you've convinced them that, okay, it's actually not out of my budget. I did that in real time with the customer. And all of a sudden, they took their budget from a couple $100 to a month to seeing that, okay, I can afford to spend $1,000 per month. So that's how you use the calculator. That's how I use Metro and Pulse to create new business, open the conversation, close the sale, and continue to generate business over time. I'm providing them value over and over again using this stuff. I'm keeping in contact with them with upcoming opportunities. I'll show them spec ads. I'll get them talking. I'll remind them of their opportunity. And that's what keeps me in the game with my sales. So with that said, I guess if John, you wanted to open the floor back up, if anyone has questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Oh, definitely.
That's pretty much everything I got.
So much, Chris. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Absolutely awesome. Does anybody have any? Let me share my screen here if I might. Just a second here. There we go. Once again, thank you, Chris. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Chris is more than happy to answer them. If you're a little bashful, no problem. Just, put your question in the chat or send an email. Chris, would you like people to send you an email, or would you like to have?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. If you could give us your email address, and I'm sure people would love to communicate with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? To make life even easier, I'm going to put a message in the chat here to everyone. I'm going to put in my email address.
Awesome. So while Chris is doing that, does anybody have any questions or comments for Chris in real time here this morning? People are always bashful, Chris. So let's do this. Bethany?
Yes. There are some questions coming in through the chat.
Okay, very good.
Is Pulse a paid app?
Pulse is available on a complimentary basis. In just a second, I'll share with you guys how to sign up for a complimentary Pulse program that does include the Ad Wizard. So be patient for just a second and we'll share with you how to do that.
Okay. And is it through Metro? Now, Pulse is separate from Metro.
Yeah.
The Wizard is the Metro product. The Pulse sales tools are the Pulse product, but we are working together.
Yeah, let me echo that. Pulse is extremely honored and pleased to work together with such a fabulous company as Metro to offer to you guys, the opportunity of the Pulse presentation and then how to reach them, like Chris is so beautifully, with the Spec Ad. Not only how to reach them, but solutions and personalizing. Once again, great job, Chris.
No problem.
How is your renewal rate with customers, Chris? Do you have an example of your most successful campaign?
Sure. So obviously, as you're prospecting, you have to get used to the word no and the words not interested. But once you have someone that's open to having a conversation with you and you're presenting them with valuable information and you get them to start working with you over time, you can grow their budget. I'll give you one example. So I'll give you an example of how creative can go very, very well. So back in the beginning of this year, I had a grocery store that I was able to work with. And over time, we've been able to consistently produce results over and over again. And by showing him the right creative sells and tracking the information, he's able to see how many more new customers he's getting every single month. He continues to work with us. Normally, we work with annual campaigns. And what I do is when I have someone for an annual campaign, I'm continuing to give them reporting data, but I'm also presenting to them new ideas, maybe making some suggestions here and there with new creative. That way, no one goes through creative fatigue. You got to remember, you can't just have the same exact creative design going for a long period of time. You want to change it up every now and then to avoid that creative fatigue. But back to the grocer. So the idea that creative does so well, this particular advertiser, they put in a recipe for a zucchini pie. And because he's trying to sell different products that he has in different specials. So just by having the image of the zucchini pie with the recipe, he told me the next day the item sold out just by having the right creative. So the right creative can sell. As far as my renewal rate, to answer that question, an overwhelming majority of the customers that I do have that sign up for longer term campaigns, I get them to renew. They continue because they're used to going for a longer period of times. And I established from the very beginning, I always say that, listen, I'm going to present to you the most impactful option that I would recommend for you because integrated solutions work best. Doing multiple different things at the same time is always going to yield the best results. If you don't have the budget for it, that's fine. We'll scale it back. But this is what you want to do if you want the most impact. You want frequency. You don't want to just do this one time. If I get someone to just do a one-time ad, chances are they'll do the one-time ad, they'll get used to doing it, and they'll do ads once in a while. I'm still renewing them, but I don't have that consistent revenue coming in. If I have someone locked in for a full year, those type of advertisers are more likely to give you more business over time. They'll do their annual campaign, but they'll also do additional advertising as you go. That's what I've seen. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
We also have, do you find that these spec ads evolve into the actual creative for the ad campaign, or is it more commonly just to generate ideas for campaigns?
I would say it's a mixture of both. There's plenty of times where I'm saying, hey, the advertiser wants to use this. Let's do it. Or it'll be the advertiser wants to use this as a template. They just want to change the copy up a bit. The great thing about showing the creative is it gets the conversation going. But there are times that's literally the ad that they want to use. Or there's times where they want to make small little changes. And sometimes it's completely different. I'll give you another example. So I had a customer that is a carting company, and I'm actually working on closing the sale now. It's a carting company. He does construction and debris demolition, recycling, things like that. And in the Metro tool, there actually isn't a ton of spec ads for that particular industry. So I had to use the creative library that shows all the images, like I showed before with the graduate smiling. So I was thinking like, okay, I need to find an example of a truck or something that they're going to want to feature on their ad. So I pulled up a number of different images, like I did with that dentist, as I said before, just to get their mind going of what they're actually looking for in an ad. Because this was an advertiser that was willing to sign the contract once they liked the creative. So I shared screens with them. I showed them a few options, and I got them to open up more with what they were looking for. And then I was like, okay, perfect. I got all these notes. I'm happy I got your attention. Then I went to my creative team. I said, this is what we were looking at. They don't like these options. Do something different, feature his truck, feature his brand, gave them all the specifics. Creative team came back, gave me one ad. The guy loved it. So we're working on a second one now because he wants to run two at the same time. But it just shows you that Metro's a real resource for furthering the conversation, closing the sale. Hope that answers
And if
your question.
anybody has trouble finding images or ads for particular topics, you let us know. We can always get on that. I think we've already started getting your request in for that particular business. How do your customers know that is your ads bringing in new customers? Do they track it?
So there's multiple things here. So we have tracking technology where we'll have call track numbers that will generate phone calls. We'll also have a Google Analytics team. Maybe they'll have Google Analytics access to the website, and we're able to show them how their organic traffic has increased since they started working with us. Also, remember with Metro, it's also a digital ad spec. I just showed you print ad specs, but there's a feature to also show digital ad specs. The common thing that we find when, at least in my market, when they're working with us, we're able to show them that with their website, their organic traffic and their direct traffic and their display traffic from the display ads that they're running with us, those numbers are increasing. And it turns out consistently, they're one of the top ranking levels, the top ranking mediums for traffic going onto the website. So we're clearly able to show that from this time point on, when you started working with us, your traffic has gone up. What have you done differently during this time period compared to before? The answer is you started working with us. Your traffic's going up because you're working with us. That's why your organic search is going up. That's why the direct search is going up. That's why display search is bringing in traffic. So it's important to have mediums of tracking how these ads are working. You can also put coupons, if that's how you pronounce it, put that into print ads as well. They can bring those in. So there's a number of different ways, and that's how we primarily do it. Okay, what else we got there?
How often for a weekly advertiser do you change their ad?
Okay, so normally, if it's a weekly advertiser, I would always suggest that a grocery store is one thing, because a grocery store, in my case, they have a weekly circular that they're looking to promote. So they constantly have new products that they're highlighting with new pricing and new specials. But in some cases, you may have an advertiser that isn't a grocery store. This is in most cases, they're not a grocery store, but they have a few products that they're really trying to push. I would say in that case, don't change up the creative every single week. Let it rock for a bit. Let it keep going. Maybe in like 2 months, 3 months, maybe that's when you change it up. Maybe work with the seasonality. Work with their specials. Work with the products that are selling the most. Pair them next to some products that they need some help selling. Put some specials on there. Really communicate and work with the customer and get them to open up about what's working for them, where's their pain point, what's their strategy, what types of marketing solutions have they done in the past, what items are you pushing. And once you gather that information, that's when you as the marketing professional, you're able to make your recommendations. And in some cases, it will make sense to change up the creative every week. Some cases, it may make sense just to hold off on changing it, because remember, ad frequency. People need to see the same image. The recent studies show that people don't take action until they see the same message like 8 times. So you don't want to constantly change up the messaging. You want it to let it sit and marinate for a bit. What else is here?
Some clients submit all their ads camera ready and some need assistance. How do you feel about clients that require ad setup and have fairly complicated production needs? Do you charge for any spec ads you generate for the actual final creative art? What is your philosophy about creative time? There's a lot of questions in one.
A lot of questions in one. I would say it depends on the company that you're working for. They probably have their own protocol for that. In my particular case, I don't charge for spec ads, because my idea about spec ads is, I don't know if this is going to be the final product, but I want to get the conversation going. I want you to open up to me more about what you're looking for. Or if you already did, I'll take those into account. I'll put something on there, but I personally don't charge for making spec ads. If they do have a lot of technical requests, you do the very best you can to make it all happen, but you also remind them it's okay. You know, Henry Ford, he had a quote many years ago that the customer is not always right. The customer is not always right, because if the customer was always right, then his customers, they would be riding horses. They wouldn't necessarily be driving cars, because at the time the cars were not around. So the customers wanted horses. No, the customers just wanted to get to point A to point B. They wanted to do it the better way, make it a car. The car's the better way. If you listen to his customers, he would have never made the car. So sometimes you have to tell the potential advertiser, say, hey, I know you want to do all this. Maybe you should cut back on a couple of things, and here's why. Then provide them the reasoning, the research, and the solutions, and they'll respect you more for that. That's what I found. Some advertisers are just very difficult, and they just want it a specific way. They're time consuming. What are you going to do? If you want to work with them, you work with them. Most cases, you just follow along. But respect the position that you hold. You are the specialist. You have the data. With Pulse, you show them the opportunity. With Metro, you show them creative ideas, generate that imagery, sells. There's a proven track record for it, and you take it from there. Okay, so
Sean, this one might be more for you. Where does the data come from that tells you how much people are spending on pizza or sandwiches in your example?
That's a great question. On a regular basis, Pulse does the Pulse of America shopping survey of newspaper audiences. And our clients and also Metro clients and press associations promote the survey to both newspaper readers and website visitors. And the good news is that in the recent Pulse of America shopping survey that we just conducted, we got over 6,500 completed surveys. And these are very long surveys because we want to make sure we include every single potential business category and product and service. So in your answer to your question, it's a partnership that Pulse provides essentially we just ask the questions the business would ask of newspaper audiences and their website visitors, and then provide that information within the Pulse program. So as Chris showed you can easily access it and then create a presentation that shows the opportunity that is, in answer to your question, based on the current Pulse research of shopping intent of newspaper audiences and website visitors. Any other questions? Or
there's one here. This might be more of a technical thing that you want to address afterwards? Not sure. Why does it sometimes not pop up with one of my accounts in Pulse, even if I type in the name perfectly in the search bar? Is that something
If you
you?
send me an email, marlene@pulseresearch.com, marlene@pulseresearch.com. I'll personally get together with you and address the issue.
Someone saying 6,500 surveys completed nationwide.
Yes.
Okay. And one more, how do you use it for prospecting?
I didn't hear the question.
What was the question?
How do you use for prospecting?
Oh, it's a Google mashup. It's not perfect, but it's darn good.
Okay. I don't see anything else coming in. I think
Alexa, stop.
Questions?
Somehow mashup started my Alexa. She's always listening.
Oh, is that what's going on in the background?
Well, thank you very much for your questions. And if you have any others, at the end here, we'll show you a slide that we've got the email for both Bethany and myself. Bethany, in closing, please give everybody an update on the Metro Creative Graphic programs and opportunities.
All right. So if you are subscribing to both Pulse and Metro's Wizard, you should have the connection. We set it up on an individual basis. So if you've added new users and if there are people that don't have that connection, definitely reach out to either Metro or Pulse. We can get you set up from either end to make sure that you can go back and forth seamlessly. If you subscribe to Metro but not to the Wizard, or if you don't get Metro at all and you're interested, reach out to us. We will be happy to get you more information. We do offer free trials, and I'll get to the contact information at the end here too. So feel free to reach out to us so we can get you pricing and set you up with a trial. If you want any additional training on using the Wizard, I mean, Chris does a fabulous job of hacking the Wizard, so to speak, and making it work for him. But if you want any additional training, definitely let us know. We can set that up on a one-on-one basis or for your whole sales team. And we want to make sure that everybody has a Metro password. If you're sharing with someone else, because the Wizard and Pulse are both so user specific, we want to make sure that everyone has their own password. Oh, and I skipped over my video tutorials. Let me share my screen real quick here. So I can show you where to go. So under the My Account link in the top right-hand corner, you can come in here, make sure that your password is updated. If you have one, make sure we have your current email address. You can update your information here. If you're an admin user, you'll have another option that says manage users. So you can add and remove people there. You can view who you have set up. Just when it comes to doing the Pulse and Wizard connection, we need to do that from our end. So you can add users, but then let us know so we can make sure that they're connected. But this is a great way to make sure that everyone is set up that needs to be set up. We also have a ton of video tutorials. So if you don't have time to do a whole webinar, you can go to our support menu, go to video tutorials, and look for the section for My Ad Wizard. And there are a bunch of Wizard specific videos at the beginning here, and then there are a couple that are specific to the Pulse Wizard connection. So you can check those out too. So that way you can kind of learn on your own time if you need to. And if there's anything you need, technical support, you need the connection, you need to set up users, set up training, the contact us is in the top right-hand corner with our phone number and our email address. And anyone in client services is happy to help you. All right, and with that, I will turn it back to you, John. You can take back the screen sharing.
There we go.
Great.
Oops. So thank you so much, Chris. You were fabulous, absolutely fabulous. I learned a couple of great insights from you, and I appreciate you very much taking the time. In response to the question about the Pulse Ad Wizard integration, to echo what Bethany just said, all Pulse clients have live right now today the Ad Wizard integrated into your Pulse sales tools. And if you're not an Ad Wizard subscriber, you can get a free trial, as Bethany said, through the end of the year of the Ad Wizard program. We also have available a complimentary Pulse program. And this is really cool. It's got the 25 most created Spec Ad business categories. And it includes the teaser presentation, which you see on the right on your screen right now, which focuses on what the advertiser wants to know and what Chris said over and over, the opportunity for them. Like for this pizza restaurant in this teaser example, 21,182 local households said yes. And by the way, where does that number come from? It's really quite simple. We just take the percentage from the Pulse shopping survey, in this example, 62.3%, times the number of households you reach to give the projection, the opportunity, and potential customers of your audience for that business. So if you'd like our complimentary program between now and the end of the year, just go to pulseresearch.com/sign up. For those of you who have our complimentary program right now, you can, went forward there. You can enhance the program with additional categories, 567 total business categories, along with local data, which we can take the 6,500 total sample and break it down, available on either a state basis or a regional basis. And the enhanced program also includes, and Chris showed you how effective that can be, the break-even calculator. So if you'd like information on that, just send me an email, marlene@paper.net. And the pricing starts very affordably at just $95 setup and $35 a month to add those additional resources to your Pulse program. And in closing, I want to say thank you once again to Chris, and thank you to each one of you for taking the time to be part of our program this morning. And if you have a question or anything I can help with, send me an email, marlene@paper.net. And Bethany, is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay, so thank you very much. We sure appreciate it. And if we can help in any way, Pulse and Metro are dedicated to providing solutions and helping you, as Chris is showing you today, to effectively engage with your businesses and increase your revenue and your commissions. Thanks again. We appreciate it.
Good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.